we're now rolling with the MO4 podcast with JT Pender and DJ Clinton Tarantino. Presented by Game Brothers. Episode 1, Way Overdue.
What's up, everybody? You're on the MO4 podcast, episode 1, with your boy JT Pender
and Clinton Tarantino.
Episode 1 is a very special episode for us because obviously we're getting something kicked off that me and Clinton have been talking about for some time now. A little bit about myself. I've been producing music since I was 15. So I think my first album dropped in 1999. That was my first project that was back on CDs. And been making music ever since for the last 21 years. So I was in the early jump of the computer production, beat production. I think my first beats were made on, was it Cool Edit Pro?
Cool Edit Pro.
Yeah, it was all destructive. So that's how I started making my beats. My brother was making beats, and he was doing stuff on the tape. And I grew up in the studio around reel-to-reels and analog equipment. And so I feel old now with everything that's coming out nowadays. But I got my boy Clinton here to keep me young. Tell me a little bit about yourself, bro.
I've been doing DJing and music production for about 10 years. I got into DJing first, and really, I mean, I've always had a big passion for music, and I love playing it. And then I just had to get into music production just because, I mean, yeah, I had to make it too.
Yeah, and well, the funny thing is that we met not even. I mean, we're here in sunny San Diego, and we're both from Kitsap, Washington, Bremerton, Washington. I'm from even smaller than that, Port Angeles, Washington. But we met down here in San Diego, having nothing to do with music. We met at our old job. So it's crazy that we're sitting here now, and we were bullshitting about plugins and music and hardware. And the first thing I knew about you is that you were all about your plugins and your gear. and you hadn't seen, I had done a clip before, and I think I don't know when I ended up showing it to you about being a gearhead. I didn't even have that queued up. But so when it first started, we were like on the polar opposites of like the spectrum, because you were into, I was like, just get the fewest plugins I can. Like I didn't know anything about, like when I bought Complete, it was like a huge deal for me because I had been using the same plugins for like 5 years.
For ages,
yeah, 10 years. So it was kind of
you were just coming into the digital. I mean, like, well, that basically the new wave of what's here now.
Right, the new wave of. I mean, if you took me in 2010 and had this Instagram ad that we're gonna cover later, this like influx, this flood of just plugins for everything, like and the one-click plugins and all that.
Anybody can make a one-click production plugin nowadays,
Yeah,
and then obviously it's a solution to everything.
I think that you were probably the guy that actually made me realize I was being an old salty fart about like a lot of stuff in the business.
Yeah,
and got me into plugins and
kind of opened your eyes to realize that you don't need, I mean, you could really simplify a lot of the hardware setup now. I mean, everything's been emulated, and now we're in a much better day and age, I guess, for versatility, but it's also a double-edged sword where, we are getting marketed these plugins that we most likely don't need.
Right. And we'll still, because of the plugin addiction, we'll still be tempted to reach for those plugins, which is
where, your workstation probably comes with just as many as they're offering you, you know, and the same things that your workstation already has, but you only want it because it has a better GUI or something,
it's crazy, man. It's like the things that like we have today in just our computer setup, like even running in the studio right now, is like $1 million studio back in the 90s. It's crazy. You have every single compressor, every single synth you could ever want, yet music is
you throw 10 compressors on one track,
right? With ease, right? So it's like it's mind blowing to see how far technology has come with it, and that pretty much sums up why we decided to start doing this podcast. We're here at the studio. Called the Sweatshop down here in San Diego, and down here in the hood.
Was the Sweatshop?
Yeah, it was
no longer.
Yeah, we got an AC now. We didn't have an AC
over the summer. It was a Sweatshop,
right? Yeah, so that was like working in here, but so now we're here and we're just we want to talk about production and technology and just the whole culture that's blew up around music production. It's almost like there's more people producing music than listening to music now, which is funny and ironic, and also it's inspiring to see so many people finding an escape in it. Versus when I was starting, like in the late '90s, it was like just getting into a studio was nearly impossible, especially if you're under 18,
right?
Unless you had a lot of money, which we didn't.
Well, and then, like we've been saying, back then you needed a studio,
right?
And now you could just do it at your home, no problem, you know, right?
So, so that's kind of the background of it, and we've got plenty of time to talk about that. But that's how we got into the idea of the podcast. Is just we basically be going back and forth on IG and just messaging back and forth about all the crazy shit that we were seeing online, and every time there'd be a new plugin, we'd be like, and I've always been obviously like pushing against like getting new plugins, but
try to fight the addiction,
right? But it's too much. It's like now Plugins Anonymous is
you eventually cave and yeah.
So it's to
feed the need.
Yeah, it's not. It's like plug-in heroin is like what it is now. Like. If I tell you what, personally, if I fall into like the one knob plugins, it's over for me, man. I gotta go into rehab.
I'll make sure to keep you in check.
Right.
But we'll definitely go over some of those.
Right. You know what? I need
in the future.
I need to queue up that. I need to queue up that video for
our boy.
The "Don't Be a Gearhead."
Your
face every time that I would bring that up or we'd talk about it, and then because honestly, you do need like a reality check sometimes because you'll spend more time loading plugins and
than actual time being creative,
making music,
or actually mixing or working.
Right.
Yeah.
So definitely gonna queue that up.
Getting lost in the wormhole.
Right. So yeah, I mean, bear with us. I mean, this ain't the Joe Rogan production. This is our first day up in here, and we're happy to be doing this and actually having some things come to fruition. But we got some kinks to work out. But
we'll be getting there.
Yeah. So I mean, some of the things we're gonna get into. I mean, just an introductory thing. I mean, I think that we should definitely talk about. You came up with the name, the Plugins Anonymous, which is I think is catchy as fuck. It's like,
these plugins, the marketing, everything about them, like it's going to improve your creativity.
Right.
You're going to have the next hit with this plugin. I mean, everything's so revolutionary and game changing, and it's funny because, like I was just saying, like 80% of this stuff that you're buying the hype on it and you're like, I'm going to make this next hit record. And then you realize you already have it sitting in there in your DAW, like it's just got a cool interface. So, a lot of it just has to do with that. Or, I mean, maybe there is some things that are added that can actually be beneficial to your workflow.
Well, yeah, and we've talked about it now. Our big thing for this year for our collaborations is basically dumbing everything down more because we'll sit there from two different genres and know all this modulation and LFO and all the stuff that we could do. And it's almost like it's harder. And I remember thinking about this back on my album, Ashy to Classy, back before studying. And I had friends that were saying like, no, man, it's all about the earworm. It's all about the hook. And we're back in that. And and it's hard for us to do that because we want to throw so much on there and layer and layer and layer. But, I think we've been doing good. And over these episodes, we can leak some of the stuff we're working on with the wall sound and simplifying production. It's like it's almost like we're trying to denoise a lot of the production and do the most with the least elements sometimes, right?
Right. Yeah, it's definitely making minimal maximal. I mean, I think that's probably the best approach, Yeah, because it's easy to throw a lot of things and elements into a track, especially while you're producing it. You know, you get bored. You're like, oh, might as well tweak another couple knobs, throw in 8 more sounds. And then all of a sudden you got this big messy hodgepodge where you're like, why did I add all this extra noise in there that's just taking away from the main point of the mix, the track. It's getting too busy.
On the hip hop side, you have it where it's like the song is perfect. Until you start to try to write the vocals for it, because there's no room. Like when the song's overproduced, you haven't left any room for the vocals. You know
exactly.
And so things like that, definitely things I want to cover, man, on this.
Right,
and,
where you need to actually have that space in the mix, so you're not distracting from the main point that you're conveying in your vocals. So it's all things like we're talking about where you got to really, boil down your workflow to make sure that you stay on track.
Right.
You know, and that those kinds of tips will be probably the most valuable to everyone, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, there's also with these ads, our working idea was called the Burning Bridges ad review. And we have a list of ads that I'm not going to say they're complete bullshit, but they're very
outlandish.
There's definitely some
bold claims
in the ads, and also there's some just funny shit you see, and no one talks about it other than in the comments section. And I don't want to be like a troll podcast, but I just feel like we talk about these ads so much that it's just funny. Like, hey, any publicity is good publicity, and
a big thing is all the claims that they make, and what are they backing these things up with? You know,
right?
I mean,
there's like I said, there's almost more people. It's like it's scientific impossibility, but it almost seems like there's more people making music than listening to it right now. That's just it's just like the everybody wants to write a book thing, but. On that tip, I should include that there's like more people than ever trying to make money off of musicians, and a lot of it is just predatorial garbage.
Right.
I mean, I've been in this business for a long time, and I've been through my ups and downs with contracts and with legal and with lawsuits and with clearance issues. And, another part of my business is involved with publishing, and with Game Runners is we have the publishing division, which is doing shows and doing that. And it's like a lot of these people that are doing clinics and, classes and webinars on publishing, I've never fucking heard of them, and they've said they've done 100 million albums or done this and that. I know the players that they're in there, they're out of LA, they're doing a lot of it that are on the indie game. I've never heard of a lot of these guys. Maybe they're signed to something. Yeah. There's other shit on ads that we've seen where there's like, people saying they're everything's Grammy nominated, right?
Yeah,
everybody's Grammy nominated.
I mean, in order for anything to be have some assertive presence, whoever's vouching for it has to be Grammy nominated.
You have to be or you have to be like potentially Grammy nominated,
or potentially Oscar nominated,
or Lady Gaga came through your studio at one point in the last 20 years, whether you owned it or not, and she's on your credit list
at 1 a.m. on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, so I definitely want to have some fun looking at that shit. So if you're out there boosting this shit and sponsoring it on IG, don't take any personal offense to us calling out what we think is bullshit or what we find funny. It may not be bullshit, but it may be funny that's the ad, and that's how it's going to be. And we already have.
Yep. And feel free to, send a message to our inbox if you have anything to rebuttal it.
Yeah, hit us up. Definitely want to make this more of an interactive thing. It's only a monthly podcast, but we definitely want to compile everything from month to month and hear from you guys too. So there's that. And we're going to work through some sessions with different plugins and stuff that we like, and different sessions, and go through that. I think that's where we're at. I mean,
well, we plan on doing some call-ins too, like I was saying with the rebuttal,
right?
For anybody that we might touch base with on the advertisements and all that stuff. But we're definitely going to do a portion of the show dedicated to whatever you guys want to hear from us,
right?
Whether that be a new plugin, whether that be new music. you know, your tracks where we can, you know, review them on the show and add our critique to it if you're open to it. And I mean, honestly, we're open to anything.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Give it a whirl.
All right, hold up. We got to segue this in.
Segue.
Yeah, we have to start this because it's going to come in as
Say
a new
segue.
one.
It just reminds me of a mall cop scooter.
All right.
Got Paul Blart here.
All right, so we want to get our first Plugins Anonymous review, and it's one that was easy for both of us, right, to agree on, because right now we've been on alternating patterns with what we're using.
Yeah.
And that's Valhalla Shimmer, which you put me onto all the Valhalla plugins like 3 months ago, and I got every single one of them because I was like, every single one of these is just fucking unreal.
Yep. I've been on these for like 5 years now, if not a little bit longer.
And that's why you're a horrible Plugins Anonymous sponsor, because every time like I look at something, you never talk me out of it. So
I always feed the need. Yeah,
you know what? Thank God it isn't AA, because it's
who's going to be your sponsor.
Yeah, but so it's Valhalla Shimmer. You know more about this than me, man. I've been using it. This is on well, go ahead. I'll play this track. This is a track off of the new album we're working on. It's album Existence, solo album that I'm trying to get done, and we're putting the frosting on over the next couple of months. And this is a backup vocal that has a lot of auto-tune on it. Some of the chain has been taken off. I usually use Nectar on the vocals. Some of the chain's been taken off so we can concentrate on the effect of Shimmer on this. But I'll play the track real quick, and we'll see what's up here. Bringing back the classic. I got a pretty little thing and she perfect. I got my fam on the scene and we swerving. A lot of enemies breathe, wanna hurt me. A lot of haters. So you can see how that vocals, it's gonna ride throughout the track, and it just kind of plays with the other, with the main vocals, and it's a background kind of
ambience.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So let me solo this up.
And that's what Valhalla Shimmer is great for.
Right.
Filling out the space.
So here's the solo with Shimmer on. Bringing back the classic. All right, now I'm gonna pull. It also has a Valhalla delay on there. I'm gonna pull delay off so you can hear that again. I mean, this is we have fucking time, so let's do it. Bringing back the classic. All right, so now we'll go as dry as we're gonna go. There's some other processing chains on there, but this will give you an idea here. This is without Shimmer on. Bringing back the classic. And then on here. So what got me about this was like how huge it makes it just from just a simple nudge in the mix on it. And this was the first plugin I think you showed me from Valhalla, and I was just like shocked. I was like, damn, this sounds like $1 million
reverb.
Yeah.
I mean, it just makes massive sounds. I mean, you can make anything sound freaking super lush with this plugin. Yeah. I mean, it's comparable to like Big Sky or Eventide Black Hole, which Black Hole's a pedal, and Big Sky, I can't remember who makes it, but those are both pedals.
Are those is that hardware or software?
Well, they're hardware and software. I know for a fact that Black Hole is a plugin. I actually own it too, but Big Sky, I think I'm not 100% sure if that one's a plugin too.
Gotcha. So I mean,
and those are all relative to this, but this one, I mean, just out the box, I mean, you're just making massive sound with it. Right. And Black Hole, it's pretty relative. It's a little pricier, and also, I just don't think in terms of just everything that Valhalla is about. I mean, this thing just blows everything out of the water.
Yeah, and this is, first of all, let me say this because I forget the business we're in. We're not being paid at all for this from Valhalla. This is like,
no.
I think Valhalla, they're some Washington homeboys, aren't they? They're from up north, right?
I wouldn't say Washington. I think they're from Europe. Really? To be honest, yeah,
we'll
like
have to
UK.
Look that up. I thought I saw that they were out of like.
Could be wrong, but I think he has been. Yeah.
Yeah, we should. Now we need somebody. We need somebody else to build.
I know that the head honcho's name is Sean, and he's. I follow his page, but I can't remember. I mean, I've seen some stuff relative to Washington, but I don't think I've ever seen him actually in Washington.
Because I might be getting confused because there was the Bose Digital Labs guys, and I know they were from Washington. Because I
Bose Digital.
Yeah, the
That's not Valhalla.
No. But I might be getting them confused because those are two. They're both, in terms of their pricing and their structure, is pretty straightforward.
Oh, like I see.
And Valhalla, all their plugins. I mean, you can get the whole suite for like $50 a piece on every single one.
They never go on sale. Their plugins are always $50 a piece, and then they got free ones on top of it all that are also super great.
Right. So anyway, so that's Shimmer, and it's really good for like one of the things that I noticed about this is you can shift the octave on the so let's take on the vocals. You can shift it low, so this is negative octave. I'm gonna push the mix up so you can really hear it. And it just depends on the mode that you're in, but you can hear how it kind of gets like shimmery on top if you push it up to, and that's where I liked it for this vocal. But you can
then hit that feedback and diffusion a little bit.
So I'm gonna shift it up. You can hear there's just a little.
Yeah, it adds some high end in there.
So I mean, I don't know if I'd push it up this much in the track, but it gives you an idea. It's a good way to wash a vocal in just tons of just emotional reverb and cinematic reverb too, or wash a track or a kick. A kick or a snare. And you can use it.
If you want to make to sound super massive, I mean, Shimmer's a great tool.
Which is ironic.
That's
Supermassive is also another plugin.
Yeah,
from them. That's really good.
It is.
Shimmer is definitely. I think that's on our recommended list. If you haven't used it yet, definitely go.
But also, before you close it out, check out pitch mode. See that? You could hit dual reverse.
Right. So is that right? So do you need pitch mode on to make this shift, or does it work without it?
It actually does things without it.
Yeah. Okay. That's like. Right. Okay. Yeah.
You hear that?
Yeah.
It drags on a bit with it. That dual reverse is awesome, and then hit that mod rate a little bit. Just nudge it. Over on the towards the right.
Up or down? Okay. I'm gonna go to extreme. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you could hear the detune
so this
there
is
a
the
lot
detune.
more.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool things you could do with this plugin. I love that dual reverse feature.
Yeah, that's
one
beautiful.
Yeah. But even as I was already previously saying, they don't ever go on sale, but they're always priced low at $50.
Yeah, so that's.
I mean, they're just a great bargain.
It's a no-brainer, man.
Yeah,
it's definitely. I'm gonna sound like the. That's another thing we didn't talk about. We'll get into that about testimonials.
Oh yeah, yeah, and we're not, we're not.
We haven't even talked about the testimonial shit.
We're not here to try to oversell anything that doesn't need any overselling, But this one definitely sells itself.
Yeah. So long story short, Valhalla Shimmer.
Yeah.
It gets like the top tier grade from us. We don't even have a grading system.
Exactly.
I mean, we use it.
This is top shelf.
Top shelf.
I got a pretty little thing and she perfect. I got my fam on the scene and we swerving. A lot of enemies breathe wanna hurt me. A lot of haters deceased, but I'm still by the earth, man.
In the end.
All right, so one of the things we got to kick off episode 1 with, we have to include this in what we're talking about, because we're talking about when we met and how I was almost anti-gear and you were like all the plugins. You know what I'm saying?
Plugins,
right? I was like retro gear, like old school shit. Like you only need this, and this, and that's it. And
yeah, you need a tape machine,
right? So
need a console.
The irony in that, and us working together now and having this podcast is, I used to do a thing called the producer's chair, which this was actually going to be that, and then there's a producer's chair out now. Things have changed, and it didn't cover everything we wanted to cover. With this new one we're working on. So this is episode 5. It's Don't Be a Gearhead. And I let Clint talk his plugins to me for months before I showed him this. And now it's like one of my things that I always quote when we're talking too much about music tech and not making music.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play the first 30 seconds. Let's check this out. Hey, what's good, everybody? JT Pender here with the producer's chair once again, and I pose a question to you. Do you spend more time buying gear than doing music production? Because if so, I want to say one thing.
Well,
don't be a gearhead. Be a producer.
Oh!
Now, I know that's harsh. But my point is that a lot of the time, as independent producers that we get kind of into spending more time buying gear than actually making music. And I think the reason for that is because whenever you get a new toy, you're inspired to make new music, right? So sometimes we're not as inspired, we're not as motivated. We're messing around beats here and there. We might not have any major projects we're doing. So we're just trying to get new things to play with until we find some inspiration. That motherfucker, that young version of JT kept it fucking real. I'm gonna tell you that much. So the irony in this podcast is that's the shit that I'd always be quoting to the homie over here about it. Yeah. And you can see how much I've changed. Now we both have an addiction to plugins and shit. But now we're also making music too. So
that's right.
Episode 1.
There's a way to play both sides.
Play both sides
to your advantage.
Don't be a gearhead.
Yeah.
But be a gearhead and talk gear and listen to this podcast.
Yep.
Every month and talk gear, because you know what?
Yeah.
We're fucking hypocrites.
That's right.
Till then, the More Over 4 podcast. We'll see y'all next month in April.
We're punching out.
Make sure y'all punch in at moreover4.com. Moreover4.com. Okay? And this is a video podcast, so y'all that are watching, it should be there on the screen. And y'all that are listening, that's punch in at moreover4.com. All right?
Foe over foe.
Peace.
On the flow.